All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Hop Butcher for the World, and they're out of Chicago, Illinois, and this is their Green Moss. So they're calling this one a Citra and Simcoe-hopped Double IPA that comes in at 7.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just under 6 weeks old. I'm going to give another huge thanks and shout out to Hop Butcher for this beer, so big thanks to them. In the description box, I will post a link to the beer mail video I did that contains all the goodies they hooked me up with, and they sent me some fantastic beer this time around, but this is the crown jewel, and that's because I've never had this one before, and I've always wanted to try it. Now, when it comes to like the top 20 most frequently re-released beers from Hop Butcher, at least according to Untapped and the check-ins of the beers, I've only 3 of them have eluded me. This beer, their Dun Dun Dun, and their Galaxy Bowl. And when I saw this was in the box, I was so excited. So I'm hoping this lives up to the hype in my own mind. I've had their Greener Moss, which is the Triple IPA version of this, and was quite tasty. So I'm hoping that this one's right in my wheelhouse. It's Citra, it's Simcoe, very simplistic in the hop bill, but it's Hop Butcher, so you know it won't be simplistic. Anyway, let's give it a pour here. Yeah, it's looking like juice. Now, I've been keeping these Hop Butcher beers upside down in my fridge, kind of like fruited sours, because there's so much like sediment at the bottom by the time like you crack these open that yeah, it's kind of scary to some degree what falls out chunk wise. Not that it'll hurt you or anything, it's just aesthetically not that pleasing when you're pouring the rest in and it's just like, what the frig? Yeah, so of all the beers they sent this time around, this has that crazy like turkey gravy, almost butternut squash soup look to it. It looks a little bit like off-colored. Now, every time I say that, or like 98% of the time I look on camera and be like, that looks fine, Joe, what are you talking about? Hold up to light, it looks way better than just over here. So maybe it's not slightly oxidized, because that's usually the first thing that creeps in my mind when I see this color. But yeah, it has about a finger of a, I'm going to say very lightly tan-colored head. Looks super creamy for sure. But yeah, it's murky, it's turbid. It looks like juice. It looks like, you know, orange juice with all the pulp. Anyway, let's get a nose. Okay. It's almost 6 weeks old, and the vibrancy coming out of this glass, at least as far as the aromatics are concerned, insane. It is like dripping and soaking just in peach juice. It's like in a fruit cup, you get the peach and it has like the syrup with it. That's what this is. Peach all day long. Maybe a little bit of like apricot and mango, stone fruit heavy. But then there's this nice zesty kind of almost candied citrus tone. Orange and tangerine. Ruby red grapefruit with a little bit of a sprinkle of a sugar on top. It has a dank herbaceous green note with a touch of pine. Wow. It does smell like it might have a little bit of hop burn left at 6 weeks old, which it always blows me away because I've had so many beers with hop burn that have had 1, 2, 3 weeks old. But sometimes I'll get a beer 6 weeks old, 2 months old, and it still has hop burn. I'm just like, wow, the sheer amount of hops they dry hop that with was probably through the roof. I don't remember. I should have looked at, again, if I was a better beer tuber, shout out to a good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber Kyle over at No Hype Beer Reviews. He likes to say that when he didn't think of something mid-review, he'll go, if I was a better beer tuber, and this is where I'm going to use it, if I was a better beer tuber, I would have went and looked at my Greener Moss review, and then I would have had some kind of comparison, even though that's a triple IPA, it's the bigger sibling to this, it's still Citra and Simcoe. But yeah, this smells awesome. A fruit bowl of awesomeness. That's kind of what this is. A lot of stone fruit, a lot of citrus, a little bit of like that green, dank pine kind of resinous tone. Smells awesome. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Hop Butcher. Fucking delicious is what this is. Yeah. There's a little bit of hop burn. There's a little bit like that astringency, like greenness. I don't give a shit. There's been a couple beers this past mail that they sent that the bodies of mouthfeel are just spectacular. This is like medium full. Yes, let me repeat that. Medium full, almost full body. It has such a like thick, kind of like viscous, almost fruit smoothie-esque kind of feel to it. It's kind of crazy. Way bigger than 7.5%. The mouthfeel is spectacular. A touch of carbonation lets you know it's carbonated, but it's so soft. and smooth on the palate. There's a nice like touch of creaminess as well. This is what Hop Butcher does. I think I said that about, what was the beer called? There's so many beers I reviewed from them. Was it Mega? It wasn't Mega Dipped. Mirror Ball. This is kind of like that beer from a body and mouthfeel standpoint. Just fucking phenomenal. The taste isn't as good as the nose. Just be honest with you. But there's a big, like over-ripened, huge peach note that is unmistakable for me at the front of the palate. It's a little bit of mango, apricot, stone fruit heavy for sure. And then after that, I get a nice orange and tangerine, ruby red grapefruit. It's sweet, but then it turns into like the pith of it, the rind. It has like a zestiness to it. That continues on through the palate. And it's pretty sweet, but it's not like overbearingly sweet. It's not cloying, but it just has a firm sweetness. And then the second half, and there's one other thing too that kind of hit me. There's like this almost honey, biscuity kind of malt bill that's kind of riding underneath everything. I very rarely mention the malt characteristics in beers like this just because they're usually not, something that presents itself all that much. It's usually the hops dominating, but you can definitely tell it's here, but it's like underlying. Anyway, second half of the palate, the fruits and everything start dissipating, and this nice, firm, green, herbaceous, almost grassy, slightly pine-esque feeling on the back of the palate happens. And what it does is this actually finishes like moderately bitter with a semi-dry kind of finish. It's more bitter than dry, which is a rarity with a lot of these hazy, double IPAs. 7.5%, I can't tell. Outside of the body and mouthfeel, like there's no indication this is like a huge beer or anything. Now see, I pour it, a lot of times like tons of just sediment and stuff will pour out. Not this time. It's because I kept it upside down. I probably have to do that with a lot of their hazies, just so it's more aesthetically pleasing. Not that it really matters. One more sip and we're going to rate this. What I love about this beer is that it's sweet, but not overly so. Nice firm bitterness. While it has a complexity to it in general, I love that I'm getting stone fruit, then citrus, then I'm getting like that other hop character, which a lot of times for me will be either earthy, floral, dank, herbaceous, piney. I'm getting a very complex note there where it is like this dank, herbaceous, grassy, piney thing. It's all over the place. There's a little bit, it's stopping me from giving this a really high score. There's definitely a touch of hop burn, building up a little bit on the back of the palate. So it's almost 6 weeks old, still some hop burn. This will be probably great at 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, probably be top tier. But as is right now, it's definitely, there's a little bit of hop burn. I love that it hides the alcohol. The fucking body and mouthfeel are fantastic. So I'm really loving this. I don't remember what I gave Greener Moss, but this is fucking divine. So Citra and Simcoe-hopped Double IPA, otherwise known as Green Moss from Hop Butcher. I have absolutely no issue whatsoever giving this beer a high 4.5 out of 5 and go 4.6 out of 5. This right here is fucking delicious. Yes, the can's talking, okay? It's saying, drink me, it's delicious. I don't know what's happening. I'm not even buzzed or anything. I'm just having fun. So yeah, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. I think that most people who love hazies, I can't see how you're gonna, dislike this. Citra and Simcoe, like Citra's probably bringing that peach. Simcoe's doing that complex, like dank, herbaceous, piney thing on the back of the palate. Tasting notes: fresh citrus, yeah. Stone fruit, yes. If there's one tasting note on this, well, I haven't read the second or the third one yet, but they nailed that one. I don't know why I said it like that, but they nailed stone fruit, 100%. Like peach, apricot, mango, things like that. And last is light pine. Sure. I would have said more like dank herbaceousness or just maybe like herbaceous in general. But yeah, this is divine. I am so happy that it kind of lived up to the hype in my own mind. And price and availability is Hop Butcher in and around the Chicagoland area. You can find them. They get some decent distribution now at this point. I don't know if I've ever seen this one make it here to the Buffalo, New York area, but you can buy their stuff online. Just type in Hop Butcher for the world into like Google and then just click on shopping and you will find some places. Not everybody will deliver to you, depending on what state you live into, but you should be able to find some places. On top of that, like Tavor and other sites like craftshack.com. There's a lot of places you can get them, especially if you're here in the U.S. And price point, I think these are like $15.99 a six-pack. $15 to $16, $15 to $16 a 4-pack. In Chicago, if it sees Detroit, probably talking $20 a 4-pack, maybe 22. But it's well worth it because these are delicious beers. Anyway, huge thanks to Hop Butcher for this beer. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Like I said, 7.5%. Body mouthfeel, huge indication that it's bigger. Any astringency from the alcohol? No. Cheers.